I pulled a Shania Twain on my cheating ex and it drives her an AP crazy karma. I never imagined my life would be a story worth sharing, but here we are. I posted this as a comment on another thread, and someone suggested I share it here as a full story. This is the story of how I turned betrayal into the ultimate Shania Twain moment, leaving both my cheating ex-wife and her affair partner, AP, in shambles, while finding happiness for myself in the process. Grab some popcorn, because this is a wild ride of lies, revenge, and the beautiful chaos of poetic justice. Spoiler alert, karma really is the ultimate ally. My story begins like many do, an unsuspecting husband and father living a seemingly normal life. My wife, we'll call her Lisa for anonymity, and I were married for 8 years and had 2 incredible kids together. From the outside, we were your typical suburban family unit. I worked a steady job, she was building her career in corporate management, and life was, well, comfortable. But then, like cracks spreading across a window, I started noticing things weren't quite right. Lisa began working late nights, taking mysteriously long calls, and becoming more distant. My gut told me something was off, but she brushed me off every time I brought it up, claiming I was being paranoid. Turns out, my gut was absolutely spot on. Lisa was cheating on me with her boss, a high-level executive at her company. Not just any guy, someone with a hefty paycheck and an ego inflated by the many zeros on it. You know the type, charmingly smug, thinks he's untouchable. I later found out their affair had been going on for nearly a year before I discovered it. I was devastated, and angry, and had no intention of letting this betrayal slide quietly. After some digging and gathering evidence, a collection of incriminating messages, call logs, and suspicious itinerary overlaps, I had enough proof to blow this sordid love affair wide open. But revenge is sweeter when it's served cold and with precision, so I planned my next move carefully. Step 1? Inform AP's wife, Claire. I didn't want to be the only one blindsided by their affair, and she deserved to know the truth. The meeting was awkward at first, but Claire and I quickly found common ground. We were bonded by a mutual hatred of our cheating exes, and there's something oddly liberating about rage when it's shared. Claire didn't just take the news quietly, oh no, she responded like an absolute queen. She initiated divorce proceedings almost immediately, and because her husband had been unfaithful, she was entitled to a hefty settlement. By the end of it, she took him for nearly everything, his assets, his pride, and maybe even his hairline. Meanwhile, my own divorce was fairly straightforward. Lisa's infidelity worked heavily in my favor, and I was awarded primary custody of our kids while she was slapped with child support. Initially, Claire and I bonded over a mutual mission to make Lisa and AP as miserable as possible, call it emotional catharsis with a touch of spite. For fun, and admittedly a little pettiness, we concocted a plan to fake date purely to aggravate them. You would not believe how much it worked. The voicemails and emails from Lisa and AP were glorious. We spent many nights cracking up over their desperate attempts to reason with us. AP even tried gaslighting Claire, saying she was ruining their professional lives. The nerve, right? Meanwhile, Lisa alternated between half-hearted apologies and unhinged threats, a roller coaster I happy stayed off of. But somewhere along the way, those fake dates started feeling less fake. Claire and I realized we genuinely enjoyed each other's company. It started with coffee chats that ran too long, movie nights where we forgot about the screen, and casual dinners that felt like more than just hanging out. Before we knew it, we weren't just co-conspirators, we were partners. Once my ex-wife figured out that things were serious between AP's ex and me, her rage hit new levels. She hated the fact that my life, and my kids' lives, were stable and happy without her. Meanwhile, she and AP had already called it quits. Apparently, once the affair became public, their little forbidden love story wasn't so appealing anymore. Her bitterness ramped up until one day she left me a threatening voicemail. It wasn't vague, either, it was specific and, quite frankly, troubling. Big mistake on her part. I forwarded the voicemail to my lawyer, who advised we get a protective order. When she tried to get clever and contest it, the recording was played in court, solidifying the protective order against her. But wait, it gets better. Because of the nature of the threats, her employer got wind of what happened. HR, along with her boss's boss, had a stern discussion with her. Her job wasn't officially terminated, but her reputation within the company took a huge hit. Actions have consequences. Fast forward a year, and Claire and I decided to smash the cohabitation button. We moved in together, blending our families into a modern-day Brady Bunch. She had 3 kids from her marriage to AP, and I had my 2. It was chaotic and loud, but somehow it worked. Claire became the stay-at-home mom/stepmom superstar while I managed the practical aspects of our day-to-day lives. And the financial setup? Oh, it's hilarious. Lisa pays me child support, and AP pays Claire both alimony and child support. We joked that legally getting married might mess up the gravy train, so we settled for a cohabitation agreement. Trust me, we're more than happy with where we are, married or not. Our kids adjusted beautifully, forming their own unique sibling tribe. Seeing them thrive brought us both so much joy. If the happiness of our new little family wasn't enough, our ex's misery was the cherry on top. AP's fall from grace shattered his untouchable executive image, and Lisa's attempts to stay relevant in our lives only pushed her further into irrelevance. When I look back, it's almost poetic how things turned out. Lisa and AP's world crumbled while Claire and I found happiness in building a new life together. I went from being utterly shattered to living my best life, with someone who truly values partnership, love, and laughter. They say karma takes its time, but when it arrives, it's incredibly satisfying. And in this case, I think we can all agree, it's karma at its absolute finest.